What's up guys, Mike from Rockville, and today we are going to be talking about how to set up your Rockmix 4 4-channel professional mixer with a USB interface. Let's get to it. So right in front of me I have the Rockmix 4, which you can see right here, and what also comes in the box is our USB cable and charging block. So the USB cable is kind of a dual fold cable in that you can use it to plug into the wall, which I'll do right now. So you take the female end, plug that into the block goes into the wall. Then you're going to take this end and plug it directly where it says USB out on the back. And then all you're gonna do is turn it on with the power switch over here. Now I said it's a dual fold cable because it works as a power cable, but it also works as the USB interface cable, which is what you're going to do to plug it into your computer to get it to record on the DAWs in your computer. And the cool thing is because this mixer is bus powered, you can also use this with a power bank. We also include a micro USB power port over here, and that's just another way that you can power the unit with a micro USB cable. So what I'm gonna do is connect this mixer to the speakers so that when we go through everything else on the mixer, you can hear everything coming through. Now, since this is a professional mixer, we actually have 1/4 inch outputs, which are for our main mix. Now that's gonna go to your studio monitors or powered speakers if you were using it in a live setting. So I'm actually using this mixer with the HD5 studio computer monitors. So I have a special cable that's 1/4 inch on one end, and it is an aux 3.5mm cable on the other end. So I'm gonna just plug in my white to my left and my red to my right. Then I'm going to take this end, the 3.5mm aux end, and I'm gonna plug it directly into aux 1 on my HD5. If you were using powered speakers that have 1/4 inch inputs, you would just take 1/4 inch line cables, plug them into the left and right, and then plug them directly into the line inputs on your powered speakers. But let's talk about channels 1 and 2 on this mixer first. So I'm gonna do that by grabbing a microphone. So what I have here is a dynamic microphone and an XLR cable. So the way the combo jacks work on channels 1 and 2 is that when you have an XLR plugged in, it's going to be inputting a mic level signal. And then when you have a 1/4 inch cable plugged in, it's gonna be reading that signal as a line level signal. So if you wanna use a microphone on channel 1, you're gonna wanna use it with an XLR to XLR cable. And if you wanna input a line level signal into channel 1 and 2, you're gonna wanna do it with a 1/4 inch line cable. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug my microphone in, and now you can hear me coming through the 2 speakers. So let's talk about some of the features on channel 1. So right at the top, we have a gain knob, and that is the amount of level that I am letting into channel 1. Below that, we have a 2-band high and low EQ, so I can cut the lows and get them sounding a little more high pass, or I can boost the lows. Oh my goodness. You can boost them a lot, so just dial that in. And I can do the same thing with the high end. I can cut the highs, so it sounds a little more low-endy, or I can boost the highs if you really want that high-end feel. And obviously you can mix and match them to find the preference that fits your voice. We also on channel 1 have a pan knob, which is going to allow you to pan the signal either all the way to the left, so right now it's just coming through the left speaker, or you can go all the way to the right, so it just comes through the right speaker. Or you can dial it into the middle, so it comes through both speakers evenly. And at the bottom of channel 1, we have our level volume knob, which is to set the level of channel 1 in the main mix. Now I do want to show you something else. Channel 1 actually also acts as our condenser microphone channel, which means that it is able to provide 48 volts of phantom power for a condenser microphone. So if I take this condenser microphone and plug it in, and talk into it, you're not going to hear anything coming through. And that's because there's no 48 volts of phantom power being supplied to this microphone until I press this button over here, which says phantom. I turn it on. So once I turn it on, you can hear me come through this condenser microphone. So remember, if you want to use a condenser microphone with the Rockmix 4, make sure it is on channel 1 and make sure that phantom power is engaged. Now channel 2 is very similar to channel 1 in that it features a 1/4 inch and XLR combo jack. It has our gain knob, our 2-band EQ, a pan knob, and our level knob at the bottom, but it is a little different because you can also use the 1/4 inch input for high gain instruments like guitar and bass. All you have to do is take a guitar, take a 1/4 inch instrument cable, plug it into your guitar, take the other end, and we're gonna plug this into combo jack number 2, turn up the volume, and then very important, click this instrument high Z button over here. This is going to allow us to now play music through our guitar. Really cool because if you're a musician and you're a singer-songwriter that uses guitars and sings, you can record both your voice and your guitar at the same time right into your DAW. Now channel 2 is a little different from channel 1 because even though you can use it for microphones, you can only use it for dynamic microphones because this channel does not have phantom power. So just keep that in mind if you're doing a 2-person podcast. Make sure you're either using both dynamic mics or that you're using a dynamic mic on channel 2 and a condenser microphone on channel 1. Now before I move on to some of the other features on the Rockmix 4, I do want to show you this 1/8" microphone input called mic to channel 1 over here. So this 1/8" microphone input only works for dynamic microphones, and what you need is a female XLR cable on one end and an 1/8" male cable on the other end. You're gonna take that, you're gonna plug it in, and now the volume's all gonna be controlled off of channel 1. So you can hear me talking to this and you hear me coming through. So now when you have your microphone plugged into this input, it's actually going to bypass the other one that might be plugged into the combo jack. So this is just another option if you want to have a 2-person podcast, but you don't have that specific cable. You can plug in this 1/8" cable here and then control it off of channel 1. But just remember, it's going to bypass whatever is plugged into the combo jacks on channel 1. Now you'll notice that channels 1 and 2 both have pad buttons, and you can engage that if you have a really hot signal coming into channel 1 and 2, and it's going to reduce it a little bit and make it more manageable. So channels 3 and 4 are our 1/4" stereo channels. Now these are really cool because you can use them for anything that inputs stereo signal, like a keyboard or synth. So it's really cool because you can plug in the left and right into channels 3 and 4 and control them with the volume knob over here. You can have a keyboardist on channels 3 and 4, a guitarist on channel 2, and a vocalist on channel 1, and that's basically a full band setup which you can then use for either recording or live performances either on the stage or through webcam. Now another really cool feature that we added is this aux MP3 1/8" input over here. Now you can use this input for a variety of different applications. You can play music off your smartphone or tablet through an aux cable by plugging it in. Just remember, there is no independent volume control on the mixer itself, so the volume is controlled on the device itself. So if you want to raise the volume, you're going to do it on your smartphone or tablet. Another really interesting setup that a lot of people do is podcasts that are phone style based. So all you do is take a phone, take an aux cable, plug one end directly into the headphone port on your phone, take the other end and plug it into the aux input on the Rockmix 4. And then once you have a phone call coming in, it's actually going to transmit that audio through the aux cable right into the Rockmix 4. So if you're plugged into a computer DAW, you can record everything on both ends. The person who's leading the podcast and the person on the phone. Now speaking of DAWs, there's actually a couple different recording options that we have on this mixer. So you'll notice the switch over here. Now this switch actually gives me control over how I record directly into my laptop. So if I set it to dry channels 1 and 2, it's just going to use the preamps of channels 1 and 2 and record everything minus the 2-band EQ and minus the panning right into my computer. If I set it to the middle position, which is input mix, it's going to record everything that is coming through the mixer, but not anything that is coming from my laptop. So if I'm using my laptop to play music as well and I want that to be recorded into my DAW, I actually have to set it to the last position, which is the loopback feature. Once it's in the loopback feature, it can record everything that is coming from the computer into the mixer and then back into my computer's DAW. Speaking of computers and DAWs, let me just hook up my computer so you can see a little bit of how that works. So I'm just going to take the USB cable and unplug it from the wall and then plug it directly into my computer. When I plug it directly into my computer is actually going to recognize it as audio codec. So whether you have a Mac or a Windows computer, you can always go to your sound settings and change the sound output to audio codec, and then you'll be able to hear everything through the mixer itself. This is really important if you want to use it for studio monitors for mixing or just as an interface. So really cool, at the bottom of the mixer there is a computer knob, and this is if you want to actually play music from your computer through the mixer and then into your speakers. And now I have a song pulled up on iTunes. If I press play, you're not going to hear it until I bring up the computer level. You can input music from your computer right onto the mixer. As you heard, as I was playing music from my laptop right into the Rockmix 4, it was coming through these speakers. Everything that is running through the speakers is going to be controlled by the main mix over here. But of course, when we're recording, we don't want to have our studio monitors on because that's going to create a feedback loop. So instead, we want to use headphones. Now there's a couple different ways that we can plug in headphones on the Rockmix 4. It has both a 1/4" input over here, as well as an 1/8" input over here. Now it is important to note that when you have the 1/4" input plugged in, this 1/8" input is bypassed and vice versa, so just remember that you gotta plug them into one. Once you have headphones plugged in, you can control the level of the headphones from this monitor knob over here, and if you ever wanna quick mute the headphones, You just click this button over there. Now, if you want multiple people to be able to hear what's being recorded, maybe you have a 2-person podcast, you can get our RCS 135 TRS splitter cable and plug that directly into the 1/8" jack or even into the 1/4" jack over here. And if you need even more headphones, you can check out our 4-channel headphone amp. Now, of course, because this mixer has a USB interface and can be used for recording, one of the most important things is to make sure you're interfacing properly with your DAW. Now, on both Mac and Windows, this is exactly the same. You just need to change in your DAW your input and output to audio codec. Once you do that, it's going to recognize the RockMix 4 as the main device to record through, and anything that is coming through there is going to be recorded with that. Now, the other thing you want to keep in mind is you want to have a stereo track to record with, because this is going to be recording both the left and right side of the mix that is coming through the RockMix 4. So if you're recording in Logic or even GarageBand, you want to set it up as a 2-channel stereo track, which is then going to record both the left and right. And it's the same exact thing in Windows DAWs like Audacity. You just set up 2 tracks and set them both to the left and right. Once you have everything recorded, make sure to turn your main mix down so you don't hear anything coming through your speakers. And then if I hit record, it's going to start recording on the device, and as I talk into the microphone, you're going to see the signal is actually being picked up, which means we are recording. So hopefully this video showed you how easy it is to set up the RockMix 4, and hopefully we also showed you a couple different ways that you can use it in different applications. But again, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support tech team through phone or email. As always, guys, I'm Mike from Rockville. I'll see you next time.